Hello again, Batfans! In this episode, we check out the last stories with Jason Todd as Robin before the Boy Wonder was killed in a death in the family. And although I said stories, this is actually one big story that happened in two Batman comics. The story begins in Batman 424, when Robin hears the screams of a woman and breaks into the apartment it came from. There he confronts a Latino man, but gets reckless and is cornered by one of the man's henchmen. Batman has to help Robin, and after the thugs are dealt with, he tells Robin to stop being so reckless. Now, right off the bat, we can witness a hasty Jason getting himself in dangerous situations without thinking. Also, let me just point out that writer Jim Starlin has an awful understanding of Spanish. The Latino thugs are supposed to speak Spanish, but this is just a poor attempt at translating English dialect in a literal sense. I guess that most English speakers wouldn't notice, but for someone who knows Spanish really well, like I do, this is just terrible. Anyway, the story continues and Batman asks Robin why he broke into the apartment in the first place. Robin tells him that there was a woman screaming, and they eventually find her, scared and bruised, in the bedroom. Batman and Robin take everyone to the GCPD. There, they learn that the woman's name is Gloria, and the Latino thug is called Felipe. Gloria tells the cops that the henchman took her to Felipe's apartment, where she was abused by Felipe. To make things worse, this is not the first time it has happened. Gloria has been scared by the abuser and she remained silent, fearing for her life. Robin listens to the whole confession and he wants Felipe punished by the law. Unfortunately, Commissioner Gordon tells Robin that Felipe has a good alibi, and moreover, he is the son of an international diplomat in Gotham, which gives him diplomatic immunity, so the law can't touch him. And all the bad news just make Gloria even more afraid. Now, we have to pause for a second. At this point, the story became like a classic episode of the Law & Order SVU, which is funny but at the same time a bit strange, considering we don't see much of these kind of stories in superhero comics. But besides that, what really gets to me about this part of the story is the diplomatic immunity. Like, come on, Starling, be more creative. I don't know if diplomatic immunity was popular in the late 80s, but this is already the second time he uses this plot device. The first time was with the KG Beast, and now this. And as we know, it won't be the last time this creative idea is used. Anyway, back to the story. Robin is frustrated. He wants to get Felipe really badly, but because they can't get him for the abuse, Batman comes up with another idea. He noticed that Felipe was high on drugs when they busted him, and so Batman intends to catch him dealing with drugs, so that by law he is forced to return to his country. Jason doesn't think that's enough punishment, but Batman explains that that is the best they can get. So Robin is not out for justice, he is out for revenge. He has become too emotionally involved in this case and believes the legal punishment is not enough. Robin starts to show signs of a violent vigilante. The next days, Batman and Robin have to follow Felipe and wait until he makes a mistake. Batman is very aware that crime fighting consists largely on waiting for the right moment to strike, but Jason doesn't understand that. He gets impatient and starts to lose his temper. Fortunately, Felipe makes his move and goes to the den of the drug dealers. Batman and Robin storm the place and take down all of the criminals, including Felipe, who doesn't put up a fight, as much as Robin would have liked. Notice how Robin wanted a reason to beat him up. Finally, the police have enough evidence to deport Felipe back to his country, but until that happens, he still has a couple more days in Gotham. As he leaves the GCPD with Batman and Robin still watching closely, Felipe deliberately makes a phone call to Gloria, threatening to see her later. This makes Robin really mad, and moments later when he tries to call Gloria, she doesn't pick up the phone. Things are not looking good and the dynamic duo go to Gloria's apartment to check if she is safe. They get inside, but the place is apparently empty. However, their worst fears become real when Robin enters the bedroom and finds Gloria has committed suicide by hanging herself. Robin is in shock. This was an innocent woman, scared and traumatized to the point of taking away her life. Robin is furious, and while Batman calls for an ambulance, the Boy Wonder disappears, and Batman knows there is only one place he would want to go. At that moment, Felipe is enjoying his last days in Gotham, and he walks to the balcony of his apartment, several feet above the ground. There, he is confronted by Robin, and the next moment, Felipe falls from the balcony to his death. Batman arrives too late and can only watch the man fall. He asks Robin what happened, but Jason doesn't reply. Batman wants to know if Felipe fell, or if he was pushed. Robin replies that Felipe was scared and he slipped. Without anything else to say, Robin leaves the place and Batman contemplates what just happened. So that's the end of the first issue, and what an ending! Just in this story, Robin went from being reckless and violent to be cold and vindictive. He showed no remorse or sympathy for the criminal who died because of his actions. The ending is very ambiguous. We don't really know if Jason pushed the man or if he was scared and fell off. But in any case, Robin is still responsible for his death. He scared the man and caused him to fall. Or even worse, he pushed him. Whatever the truth is, Batman is left thinking about Robin, about Jason, and if he should allow the kid to continue as his sidekick. The boy straight up broke Batman's code. He can't be trusted anymore. And that is exactly what leads to the next and final Robin story. It happens in Batman 425, and it's called Consequences, with a very good reason. Batman receives an envelope at the GCPD, but he opens it the next day during breakfast at Wayne Manor. Inside, there's a picture of Commissioner Gordon tied up somewhere in a junkyard, clearly kidnapped. There's also a note for Batman telling him to bring Robin with him to save Gordon. Batman knows exactly who is behind it all, but first he has to make sure Gordon is in real danger. And so Bruce calls to Gordon's home as Batman. Now that is just silly. He's like, hey, this is Batman, is Gordon home? No? Okay, bye. It's so silly, and it goes to show how unbalanced that relation is. Gordon can call Batman at any time he wants, simply by turning on the bat signal. But what about when Batman needs Gordon? He's got nothing, no means to contact the man. Just something to think about. Anyway, Bruce knows very well that the man behind the kidnapping is Felipe's father, the international diplomat in Gotham. His name is Jose, and Bruce knows this man is responsible because he also controls a large criminal gang. The death of Felipe was reported as an accident, but the presence of Robin at the scene makes it obvious to deduce what actually happened. Bruce decides to go alone to protect Robin, but also because the Boy Wonder can't be trusted as his partner anymore. Batman suits up and goes to the junkyard in the Batmobile, but Jason suddenly vanishes from Wayne Manor. Batman arrives to the junkyard and starts taking down the thugs at the entrance, while at the same time Robin comes out of the Batmobile's truck. Batman makes his way to the center of the junkyard, taking down enemies with stealth, with precision as to avoid being noticed. Now this whole scene reminds me a lot of the Arkham games, where you have to clear an area of armed thugs using the gadgets or takedowns. Man, such good games. Anyway, Batman makes it to the center of the junkyard, but the closer he gets, the harder it becomes to take down the guards. They even kill each other trying to kill Batman, which makes Batman mad as he tried so hard to avoid killing anyone. Batman finally spots Gordon and he starts to worry for the safety of his oldest friend. Batman has to surrender to the criminals just so they don't shoot Gordon. They got Batman cornered and Jose wants to know where Robin is. At that moment, Robin disarms Jose, giving Batman time to take down the henchmen and also allow Gordon to escape. The thugs start shooting at Batman and Robin, but they dodge the bullets. Batman starts climbing a tower of crushed cars until he makes it to the top, while the thugs keep shooting at him. Moments later, the tower loses balance and it collapses on top of Jose, who is killed under the tons of rusty metal. In the aftermath, Batman tells Robin and Gordon that Jose was Felipe's father, seeking revenge for the death of his son. Batman goes on and tells Robin that for every action, there's a reaction, a consequence, and that there is no escaping them. And with this final lesson, the story comes to an end. And that was also Jason's final lesson. Batman realizes that several men are now dead as a consequence of Jason's actions, and Robin's place as his sidekick is in trouble. Consequences like these are partially the reason why Batman doesn't kill. The chain reaction of a murder is too unpredictable and can result in further death. So that's a lesson for Jason, a lesson about not losing his temper and to not kill. Because of his actions, people died, and this experience only tainted the name of the boy wonder. And that's exactly what Jim Starlin wanted. This was the prelude to a death in the family, and what better way to make Jason as unlikable as possible than making him responsible for the death of various criminals? The intention was to get the fanbase against Jason, and for all intents and purposes, the plan worked perfectly. Or at least, that's what they tell us. In the next episode, we will learn the true story of how Jason Todd died. It's gonna be a different kind of video, because this is perhaps the best kept secret in the history of comics. So go ahead and subscribe, but most importantly, come back to watch the next video, where we will expose a death in the family.